Breaking news. Congressman John
The United
Lewis.
States, once again, is heading into record pandemic territory.
Test. I was like, why? Test. One. Test. Facts.
Yeah, you do.
All right. First things first. Let's talk about these officers that still haven't been arrested for Breonna Taylor. Before we go any further, let's not even start none of this. Let's talk about that.
And it's a black attorney general, so think about it.
I want to hear it from you, from your perspective.
For my perspective,
Yeah.
What is his title? What's your title, young man?
so I'm a former Bloomfield Town Council person. In 2017, I ran for the first time in office, and I primaried the whole Democratic establishment. I raised money, I organized, I fought for the people, and I've served there for 2 years. And the establishment they spent a hell of a lot of money to get me out of there. I went up against Cigna and tax abatements. If you are in our communities, yes, one thing, right, to hire people, right, the black elites, right, that's what I call them, right, I call them the black elites, right. It's one thing to hire the black elites, but I want to look at your policies. I want to see what your C-suite looks like. I want to see how much money you are invested in our community. If you're going to get a tax abatement for $10 million and you can't show that you're reinvested in the community, then we don't need to give you the $10 million.
We need more of you in every community,
Right.
young man. We need more of him, bro.
We don't need to give you the $10
We have him in the
million.
way.
Instead, let's take the $10 million and the same jobs you think that they're going to lose, we can take $10 million and create those same jobs from a government perspective, right? So to get to Breonna Taylor, the cops need to be arrested. We stopped protesting. We stopped putting the pressure on the system, right? And the system found the scapegoat, just like they tried to do during the women's suffrage movement, like they did for the civil rights movement. They found one scapegoat, and this generation, to their benefit, had their attention, but they let up, right? Right. And so I think we got to keep protesting every single day at his house, make him very uncomfortable, make everybody who's put him in that position very uncomfortable.
Facts.
Show up, pull up.
That's facts.
At every city council meeting, at everything. Pull up at the governor's, wherever the governor is, pull up, make noise, put pressure on them, and the pressure has stopped. They don't feel like they have to.
I actually think the pressure is about to mount back up now because everybody's putting more of a focal point on it now. As you can see, all the athletes, now that they came back to play, they say, yo, we going to come back and dribble, but before we do, we need justice for Breonna.
That's respectable politics, right? So that's respectable politics that is accepted by the neoliberal corporate Democratic Party and the neoconservative Republican Party and the powers that be.
What's that mean?
So it's almost like it's like classes, right? So it's like the Democratic Party is about, right? It's not about me, you. It's about these big elites, right? And so the corporate party structure is going to allow those people to say something because they have a seat at the table, right? They know it's not going to move. LeBron James saying Breonna Taylor's folks need to be arrested. It's not going to move the attorney general to do so. It's not going to move the governor to put it on it. It's going to be the ordinary people in the streets making them uncomfortable. Think about it. When King got assassinated, we didn't get civil rights because they thought there was something that Lyndon B. Johnson thought that was something that we needed.
Because we tore this bad boy up.
Because when King got assassinated, 14 days after, they were burning shit down. I'm not advocating that we burn
But we
buildings
got to have
down.
a movement for Breonna,
I'm not advocating that we burn shit down. But what I'm advocating is you put the pressure on them. Economic boycott, like the Montgomery bus boycott. Anything that black folks got in this country is because of sweat, blood, and tears in the streets, and we boycotted. And they felt the economic impact of us not doing
Real
it.
boycott.
Right now, the NBA is coming back up. I heard somebody talking about the bubble and somebody visiting King of Diamonds or whatever the case may be. We're distracted from
Automatic.
The objective. Yeah, you're right.
We need to continue to put pressure on these folks. The Al Sharptons of the world not going to stop this new generation.
Yeah, everybody talking about Kanye right now.
Right?
Kanye did this.
Forget Kanye. Kanye is just a ploy
distraction.
for a distraction that
Yeah.
the white man and the
I think-
neoliberal corporate
Yep.
society is using to
I think
distract us.
the-
So
yeah.
Breonna Taylor's folks need to be arrested, but we need to continue. Shout out to Yandy, shout out to all those folks, Erica out of New York, and
it's nice to see
protesting.
celebrities, but
yeah, it's nice,
but it ain't gonna do nothing.
Yep.
The reality that we gotta look at is that the reason why the cops ain't arrested yet, because they ain't break no laws. And that's the thing that people don't understand. And that's the thing that I don't think that even our people understand is that even with Floyd, wasn't technically, they didn't really break no laws. It was just the outrage that people actually got pissed off and was like, yo, this can't happen no more. So what we have to do is we really have to talk about an actual, like, what just passed recently here in Connecticut was the accountability. The police are accountable.
So
and
wait, it hasn't been passed yet.
Well,
Past
yeah,
the House.
past the House, yeah.
It has the Senate.
It's on. Yeah, it has to go.
We have like 7 to 14. We have like 7 Democratic senators from conservative towns that are wanting to pull the qualified immunity out, right? Which is basically saying that police officers, in a nutshell, police officers cannot be sued for basically work. They have a sense of immunity, right?
Yeah, we just talked about that. So you got to sue the individual
And so,
himself.
no, you can't do that.
You can't do
They're-
that.
You can't with qualified immunity because they're agents of the government, and so they can't federal law. So what Gary Holder Wingfield, who represents New Haven, and Robin Porter have been fighting, not just right before the cameras were on, right? Long before the cameras was off, when Eric Coleman was the chair of the Judiciary Committee and the Police Union Association was fighting them tooth and nail. And these conservative, moderate, white Democrats from, I'm gonna call them out, from goddamn Hamden and goddamn Weathersfield and goddamn Waterbury. Some black and brown people was gonna vote, and Puerto Ricans were gonna vote to pull qualified immunity out, right? And so it's qualified immunity. They're not going to get arrested because qualified immunity. And until states and the federal government get rid of qualified immunity, police officers are going to continue to get away with what they get away with. But
basically, that's the only reason why they get arrested. That's what they're saying.
It's not it's not against the law what they did. That's one.
But that's excessive force.
It's not like
So if you look at the
so
post-
so it's like there's the thing, qualify excessive force. They busted into the house. And the dude didn't go ahead and like the dude started busting back. So what does that qualify? Like it doesn't qualify. So when you look at the situation, like I said, one of the things that I like to do with myself, a lot of times in these situations, I'd like to play devil's advocate. Let me think, and sometimes I just go ahead and creep onto one of those actual little conservative sites to see what they're saying. George Floyd, Breonna.
so
it was excessive.
So
I don't see, in my eyes, I don't see how it wasn't nothing was done unlawful.
So can you look at the standards of what police officers are trained, right? So it's a part of their training, right? So and the accountability bill here in Connecticut talks about posts. It's the police officers' credentials where they train and they get certified, right? Like we got to look at the procedures, right? What they're being trained in the academy. And if we don't change that and look at who sits on those boards for certifications and who is establishing the guidelines and the practices, sometimes forget policies. I want to see the practices and the guidelines that you are issuing, because it's one thing from a government perspective to say, okay, we have a problem with qualified immunity, so let's get rid of it. We get rid of qualified immunity. What are you going to replace it with, and how do you enact it? And sometimes I'm trying to be politically correct because I'm okay.
No, don't be, bro. That's not what we're here
I think you're
for.
saying the biggest issue is the culture of the policing.
No. So what happens is you have. I'm gonna just put it. You have certain black folks who uphold the system of oppression so they can fit in to the American class and social system.
And they hold it better than most of the white folks to do it. Like, and the reason why is because again, it's a whole thing where it's a check. And not only is it a check, but it's stability for my family.
Survival.
And it becomes down to that. Like recently I was watching Underground again, like the series Underground. And I forgot the guy with the burnt face. I forgot his name. But it was a thing where he was like, where he tested Noah and was like, yo, like your freedom or theirs. Now you can release all 6 of these slaves and they can go. They can be free. I'll sign their freedom papers and write everything up for them. He was like, "Oh, you got to go, but you got to go back. You got to go back into slavery." He was like, nah, I can't do it. Now Noah's like, he's the righteous character in this. And a lot of times, and that's the thing that we also have to have a little bit of empathy, because what would you do in that situation where it's like, you can come here, you can get this bag, your family is straight, you good, your legacy is cemented. But on the other hand, you got to just turn away. You can't look at this right here. We don't want you to look at this law that's going to go ahead and kind of screw your people.
That's what you call selling out. You know what I mean? When you say,
selling
a
out,
whole ass person, or just, somebody who's just selling out. That's the definition.
It's of selling out.
It's when you sacrifice your morals and what your values are in order to
For your personal gain.
Exactly.
For your personal gain. Whether
So
you are a
you-
woman, a male, politician, not politician, that's what it comes down
It's all
to.
about
So
integrity.
you have a lot of these black leaders doing that to us today.
Exactly.
And I'm
Slay, go
telling
ahead.
you-
Hold us, give Slay.
And I see why some people are like that, because like they always say, like, it's dog eat dog. You only coming in here alone, you gonna leave alone. So some people really think like that, like, yo, I'm getting me and my people straight because ain't nobody looking out for me. So I'm not saying that it's right, and I don't live that way, but I can easily see how people.
So what
make those
happens?
decisions.
So
Hold on, Gotti. Let's Ty go and then Gotti.
Let me ask this question, because, so you went against the establishment, you beat the establishment, then the establishment came back stronger, took you out. So I'm gonna ask this question: how many brothers on the panel right now are registered voters? I don't care if you Republican, Democrat. How many of you know at least 20 dudes in your immediate circle that are black that are not registered to vote, that should be voted?
Wait,
right?
I know 20 dudes.
That's not registered.
Now, Ty, I got a question to shake you up right quick. My question is this. We say that voting is so important, right? But my thing is, why is it that voting is so important, but the people in the hood, we done been through 3 mayors and nothing ain't changed in the hood. So why should I vote?
So
This is a
go there
question
and then
that
I'll
we
come back to
ask.
a new
can
Haven.
I answer this? The reason why nothing is changing in the hood, because you're not pulling up to the zoning board meeting. You're not pulling up to the land use and economic
So does
development.
voting really
Hold on.
matter then?
It does matter, because so you vote for me.
I agree with you. I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm being devil's advocate right now.
So I'm gonna finish.
Yeah, I'm being devil's
So I'm gonna
advocate.
finish. So Bloomfield voted for me, right? I was there 6 years, living in the town, 4th highest vote. Voted for me. Went there and did exactly what they told me to do for them. Right? But if you're not educated, you don't know what's going on, and then other people come and tell you bullshit, right? So part of my expression, you gotta show up. It's one thing just to elect me, but now you gotta hold me accountable. We talk about holding the police accountable. We gotta hold our elected officials accountable. So you need to show up. You need to show up to the city council meeting to make sure that, guess what? They said that this is a R13, so now that means that they could put freaking goddamn manufacturing.
Put a speed bump on the street.
They could put a speed bump on the street, or they're saying that an environmental company could come in and just pollute the energy, and now we have a public health epidemic, right? They're saying that this is zoned for residential, but we know we need a grocery store, so now we have a food desert, right? So you need to hold them accountable. So you vote, or they're gonna do what they want to do, and so then the hood is gonna continue to look like the.
When are these meetings happening? When are we? That's my question to you.
Ty and Slay.
So one of the biggest things I wanted to point out, and I'm gonna use Bugatti as an example, if y'all don't mind. I remember this kid. You probably don't remember me, but I remember him when he was young, coming up playing ball. Right? I remember that. Right? Watching him in the cage and everything. You don't have to look like this to walk into that meeting and have your voice heard. You could walk in like that. You could walk in like that. You get what I'm saying? And I think that there's this misconception by those of us. And so the folks that are, I'm in a fraternity, right? And, I'm a member of NAACP and all that. And they get mad at me when I say this, right? Sometimes we play this elitist politics where there's information that needs to be conveyed when you're talking about police brutality, right? When you're talking about police brutality and you're sitting across, like you got me at the table, it's like, Ty, we want to talk about police brutality. We want to tell these police chiefs what's going on. And you bring me just because I grew up in the Ville, but I went to college and I work with police, right? They treat me way differently than they treat you when they know that I'm me, right? Because when I'm home and I'm just walking through the hood to just go buy a Pepsi and I'm dressed down, they treat me a little differently. but my day-to-day interaction, I get a certain level of respect that you deserve, that you don't get. So if you have these experiences, why the hell am I at the table talking? Right? You can speak better to what it really feels like, and you can name the names of the officers, right? That are doing that are 45 and kids, right? They 45 and I'm running their pockets, this, that, and the other. Even though stop and frisk is not something that is supposed to happen in Connecticut, right? They taking kids behind buildings and cracking them over the head, all this stuff. If a kid tell me that, right? If a kid tells me that unsolicited, I'm gonna believe the kid. Right? Because I remember growing up in the Ville, and I remember Psychomaniac. I remember them cats coming down Harlem Place and just grabbing cats up and doing X, Y, and Z. So why should I believe that this kid is sitting across from me saying something different and lying, right? So I think that's the first piece, understanding that, so those meetings are posted, Bugatti, but we have to do a better job of saying, yo, the same way we like, because I'm a promoter, same way like, I do my black party at Terminal. When the black party at Terminal, I never stop promoting that, right? I want 500 people in there, so I'm promoting, and it's lit. I gotta promote that meeting that we all should be at collectively the same way. And then when we walk in arm to arm, and we standing shoulder to shoulder, and you dress like you dress, I'm dressed like I'm dressed, and they see that we're unified, and they see that if they disrespect you, because I may know some of the language in the meeting that you don't know, right? Instead of sitting there and acting like that gives me a leg up on you, I'm supposed to be in your ear like, Bugatti, this is what they talking about, right? And when you like, yo, Ty, why the hell? Yo, you should go to the mic and ask that. Right? And then maybe I say, just don't say why the hell, and go ask your question. Right?
No, say what the hell.
Well, no,
Say
I'm
why.
just saying.
Say it.
But you get what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. I'm sorry, Slay.
No, you good.
Nah, you go, Slay.
Slay didn't got you want to say something?
I was
All right.
going to say to you, 95% of
Slay.
what's going on, 95% of what's going on, a city of New Haven Public Schools, the proposals and all that stuff is happening in broad day. Like, for example, Board of Education meetings are happening monthly, but I might go to like maybe one a year, and the attendance is very low. But then when you go in the street, people saying, oh, these kids over here don't got this, they don't got that, but they not coming to the meetings, and these meetings aren't happening in some wild room or wild chambers at midnight and only a couple people.
Let me pause you on that real quick.
They're
Hold on,
happening at community centers, town halls, schools,
Censuses.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
the censuses.
Right.
Stop with the daggone conspiracy theories
Yo,
and do your
and I ain't gonna
censuses.
hold you. I wasn't gonna do it this year. I did it 10 years ago when I was in college. I wasn't gonna do it this year until somebody told me, yo, it's wild easy online. And I went online, bro. I don't even think it was 10 minutes. It was like, like, yo, what is your name? Are you single, married, stuff like that? Who's in the crib with you? Da-da-da-da-da. Boom, submit.
Checkpoint. Hold on. Amir, because you brought it up. What is a census? What is that?
So the census is pretty much just a gathering of information of the demographics. And so when it comes down to where money is being placed, that's what it's all about. So if I go ahead and I say, if I don't fill this thing out and nobody in my neighborhood fills anything out, they just figuring that maybe it's just a man and a woman living there at my house versus the 2 kids that I have.
Right.
So they're not going to take the actual money and put it into the school system, which is actually needed. So, and this is what's happening. It's happening throughout the hood because they not filling it out.
Right.
Why? Because they just trying to find out who in my house. They trying to take my Section 8.
Yeah.
They trying to do this.
Yo, 1,000 people did the census, but it's 10,000 people in the hood. So when they allocating funds, well, here's that money for the 1,000. Here's that money for the 1,000 that actually filled out the paper.
So you lose about 40,000 to 50,000 per person who do not do the census a year, right? So think about it. You got fire, you got police, you got libraries funded, education. Everything is funded. It's not funded. Funded.
And that's
by
exactly why
the census.
we don't have any PALs anymore. Why we don't have the Boys and Girls Clubs anymore. Why the Q House is shut down.
So basically, the city ain't being phony. We just ain't doing our part.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, bro.
The ones before, so when we was younger, they was doing those things. Because coming up, we had everything. We had a lot. We had a lot going on in the city.
But
we
again-
had a lot of men the fathers that was in their kids' lives, they was active in our community, active not just in sports, but in the community. Like, that's why the mayor, I seen DeStefano, the only time I seen DeStefano was at ceremonies and things of that sort. But they was on top of him because there was a lot of things that was going on. It was in those city meetings. I felt like as a kid, we had a lot more. And these kids don't. And that's why I want to be that voice. I want to be the person to make it cool again for everybody else to go in these rooms and go in these board meetings because it was cool. The Black Lives Matter movement became cool because so many people started posting it. Then it got diluted because people were getting paid for this. Like certain people was getting paid for the Black Lives Matter movement. So people would take it like, I ain't that serious. I don't really care about that. It got watered down. But no, we can't let this in our community get watered down. We got to find out. When Ty give me that information, I have to be the person to promote it like it's a new record and get the people out there and let them know that we need to be here united to get this funding, to get the things that we want to cross. All of the conspiracy theories we have can be thrown away if we're here.
And I think it comes back to that support piece though, right? So like even now that I'm thinking about JR, I never met JR, but I met JR because he sold somebody a house. He sold somebody a house and it was on Facebook. So when he walked in, I'm like, yo, I know this cat. I seen this cat before. So when he said what he does, right, I'm like, oh, so the next step in that is if I know Bugatti wants to be the voice of young people, right? And they look at me as Mr. Youth Development, but I'm about to be 39, right? Then I got to figure out how to open some doors.
He can reach a whole different generation.
I reach a whole population that when they see me coming, they actually run. You get what I'm saying? Whereas if they see him coming, they run to him.
So right, So recently, 2 weeks ago, I took my stimulus check and I bought 5,000 door hangers. And I educated my community. I went door to door in the middle of a pandemic with my face mask on, educating people. So the information is there because we have our cell phones. You can find it. Just Google New Haven Public School Board Meeting. It'll pop up. They probably meet every other Tuesday of the month. Pop up. Show up with your friends.
I think that's a layer of it, right? Everything you guys are saying, showing up to the meetings, promoting the meetings. I think all that are layers to the real problems. Because as much as you promote the meetings to anybody, or even when you're promoting a record, right? Nobody's gonna actually show up, or you won't get as much true people showing up and being active if they don't feel like they own the community or are part of the community. So I think that is the bigger problem. Why would I show up to talk about funding the school when my plan is just to rent here for 2 years and then go somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
and that ties it back into the finances. And we're talking about real estate. You know what I mean?
We gonna get there.
I know we gonna get there. We gonna get there.
Nah,
but
but
I just feel like it all ties,
that's a good point.
back to financial freedom.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
if I own a property as opposed to rent it, I'm gonna care if they're gonna put a speed bump in front of my spot.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna care a little bit more if I'm gonna hear that. Damn, I'm just bought here. I'm here for 5 years. My kid's going to elementary school.
I'm going to care if they put a methadone clinic right next to my spot.
I'm showing up to that meeting, but if I'm just renting here and you promote for me to show up, I'm gonna say, man, I'm just passing by, man. You know what I mean? I'm not missing it. I gotta wake up early tomorrow to go to work. I'm not messing up. LeBron playing tonight. I ain't missing.
You need more owners, basically.
You need more ownership or a sense of ownership. It's not even ownership. At least the sense
So can I ask a question to the
You know?
owners? Like, so we got Amir, we got JR, we got Madge, because like very successful business owner, right? And 2 real estate agents. So like, how'd you take that leap? Like, what led you to be able to, you standing on the cliff, right? I'm a motivational speaker, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
So I'm picturing you standing on the cliff to jump into business ownership, and you just like, yo, I'm just gonna jump off this motherfucker.
Yeah. Yo, that's
and I believe in my ability to land. So how? Like,
Go ahead, man.
what led to it?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because it goes back to what he was saying earlier. Like, I wanted to control my own destiny. I was working for a lot of other people. I had a certain amount of money that I was able to reach a level that I'd never met before. I was like, damn, I was able to stack this amount of money. Now what I'm gonna do? Like, all right, I got to do something. Like, I'm just peeling off. It's like you said, it's an onion. It's layers to it. So I said, I got to do something. So I said, you know what? I'm going to invest into my own barbershop. I didn't know if it was going to be successful. I didn't know. I just said, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to visualize. If I just make a location and make it what's the word? I'm gonna make it desirable for somebody else to go, yeah, you know what? I kind of feel what he's doing. I believe in what he's doing. And I just stepped out on faith. You just got to try. I said to myself, you know what? It's going to kill me to say I never even tried. Like, I'd rather be like, all right, I fucked that up, but I know how to do it next time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Rather than me just sitting on that money. Now this bill come, and we know as black people, it's a crisis that always comes. You can have a nest egg. You can have a nest egg over here. Something's going to come where you're going to go, you know what? I'm going to put it back. I'm going to take from there. I'm going to put that back. And once you start, it just becomes, and so I said for that reason, I never was able to meet that level. I said, yo, I can get what I need. I can get the chairs. I can pay the rent 3 months in advance and sit here by myself. So at least I won't panic, have a heart attack if I don't make this rent next month. So I just stepped out on that. And then when people heard that I did what I did, they just started peeking, coming by and looking to see if it was true. And the rest was just history.
Was zoning hard? Was it
you know
a
what?
hard
Zoning was
battle
actually easy for me because at the time, almost 10 years ago when I did it, there were no other barbershops down there. So it was in demand. They only had an old Italian guy that was about to retire anyway. So, I went and got the blessings from him. I talked to a few of the board members that's down there because, like you said, whether you know it or not, you can have all the money in place. You can do whatever you want to do. They want to know where you got the money from. They doing background checks on ownerships now. They want to know, who are you to be owning something? Where are you coming from? Like,
where's your barbershop at? Shout out your barbershop, bro.
Transformers Barbershop. I'm located on the Westville end of Whaley Avenue, right off the 15. You can come on. It's right behind the diner, right across. We down there with the A1 Toyota. We right behind the diner.
Okay.
So
There's right gas station Woody Wings, man.
Right.
Woody Wings.
But now, at the time when I was doing it, I wanted to do an established barbershop. I didn't want to do any. We got a lot of Mike's Barbershop. Danny's Hair. I could have did Majesty's Hair Palace, but who's gonna Google that and look that up? I wanted to do something that was franchisable, and when you look it up, you see it. You see this big face with a pick on it. You're like, oh, well, that's kind of it's intriguing. Then the kids, when they hear the name Transformers, and I was catering more to the kids.
The timing was right too, because I remember when you first did it. It was the reboot of Transformers, because all of us grew up watching the cartoon Transformers. But that was the reboot when they start making the big videos and the big blockbuster films.
Yeah, absolutely
that was right around the time. So it was super marketable at that time.
Right.
So let me ask you guys a question. The owners, business owners and homeowners. As a renter, say if a person is a renter, right? Why, like, if I don't own a business, I don't see the perks of a business, right?
Facts.
And a business owner, 9 times out of 10, doesn't show the perks of their business, right?
Facts.
Okay, so as a regular person, what's the pros and the cons of me being a renter or a non-business owner, and what's the pros of being a business owner? Because a lot of people in the community, we just trying to, survival is a very, very strong word when it comes to our culture. And we have to understand that once that kicks in, that whole, and I'm a faithful believer. Now, I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for, the issue at hand.
What's crazy? Being that y'all, I know y'all are real estate. Y'all understand the importance of generational wealth and owning property.
Right.
And I'm not even in y'all's shoes, and I can answer that question for them real quick.
But to go deeper is, Maz, you were saying, you had the 3 months saved, you had the, all this, right?
Right.
A lot of people are in situations, 90%, 95%, they're in situations that every dollar,
check to check.
Right. It matters.
Right?
Every check matters.
Okay. So we're in the survival mode. Mm-hmm. So where does this, because I feel like, me personally, this is me and Rashad, I feel like we got where we were because we knew certain things. It wasn't more so, it was a leap of faith, 100%. Right. But there was knowledge there that got us to the okay, this is a gamble, but we know that X, Y, and Z.
So we gotta get past we gotta get past the knowledge part, because I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. The reason why our people in particular, are not owners is fear. We are absolutely afraid. And the one thing I'm gonna tell you, so the thing is that what happens with fear either moves you or it paralyzes you. So the thing is that most of our people, they'll hear this information and they'll be paralyzed. Or they'll hear the information and somebody else will be like, I don't think this is the right information, and they run. Yeah. So this is the thing. So like explaining and breaking down the fear aspect, and so You said, what are some of the benefits of ownership? So I tell people all the time, me being an owner and me being an owner of a multifamily, my house that I live in is paid for by my tenants. That's right. I don't pay my mortgage. My tenants pay it. My tenants pay for my electric bill. My tenants pay for my gas bill. So when I go to the Yale University and I go collect their check, that check is just stash money. That's money to do for future investments. So my kids' Christmas, they can literally say, Dad, I want 2 iPads. And I'm like, oh, okay. What your grades look like, you can get 2 iPads. Like, it's a freedom. And this is the thing about having wealth. Like I said, people look at me and be like, you're rich. And I'm like, no, I'm not rich. I'm wealthy because I own these properties. These properties are going to be passed down to my children and their children's children. And when I'm done, and when I'm finished paying all these mortgages off, they're all good.
Oh, yeah.
Then the second thing is the tax benefits. The fact that I get, from my university check, they take all the taxes out. But you know what happens when I write off all my houses?
You know all that shit right back.
I get it all right back.
All right, so let's bring that back. Everything we talk about today, let's bring it back to the fact that we don't know any. Like, I'm a person that
You don't know anything, and you don't have no money. Now here's the thing.
You don't
I
have
deal
any
with the people all the
disposable
time.
income. Hold on. So the black family, as you know, white wealth in the transitioning from, we've been given Section 8. That's the only thing that's been transferred.
You can purchase a house with Section 8, by the way.
Well, yeah, no, but intergenerational,
but what's
we don't
the
have
formula?
Talk
intergenerational
about that.
wealth. So what somebody who's living in the north end of, or I'm not from New Haven, but in the hood, and they don't have disposable income, how are they supposed to get the money from? I know there's FHA because I'm educated.
I talk to people
but
all
the
the
down
time
payment,
about this. Yeah.
how do
So
they do it?
there's down payment assistance. There's grants.
Listen, I'm
Let-
a
let me-
prime example of that,
Let me.
guys. I'm
let-
the-
let-
I
let-
just
let me-
went through all
let-
that.
I
let
know
me
the
rock
stuff.
out
I
a
know
little
the
bit.
stuff, but I'm just doing it for the
Yeah,
audience.
So here it is. So you talked about a lot of things, right? We talked about fear. You talked about survival. Those are the 2 main things that stuck out. All right. First of all, people fear what they don't understand. And the reason why they don't take that leap that you were talking about is because they really don't understand. And not understanding causes fear. Why are they scared? It goes back to what you said, survival, right? How am I going to survive? I can't worry about, saving up bread to put 3.5% down if I can't survive. So what is the roadmap to that? The same strategy that my man right here used is what I woke up one morning and figured out too. Like, look, my biggest bill is how I'm going to live, no matter what. If I told all y'all right now, eliminate your rent payment or your mortgage payment right now, you automatically give yourself an extra, $1,500, $1,600 in your pocket every month, a pay raise immediately. That's the strategy that you already know that, okay, I have to figure out a way to eliminate that. Best way to eliminate that, have a tenant pay for my rent. Now, how am I gonna pay for this, right? Stress comes, fear comes again. You get discouraged. Right now, I'll leave you with a gem. Bank of America has a grant right now going on where they'll pay you up to $17,500 in down payment and closing cost assistance. 0 money out of pocket. So you want to know, so if you want to know what the formula is and you want to know a way, you could leave here today at least with that way. The most common way and the way that worked for me was the FHA loan, 3.5%. It's a federally backed loan. You can buy up to a 1 to a 4 family property with it. And I already knew, look, I'm got no kids, I'm single, grew up in the hood, so I'm used to living one on top of each other anyway. Why am I gonna go get into a single family crib in the burbs right now? No. I'm gonna find me a nice little spot, nice little 2-family where the first floor could play for the mortgage or majority of the mortgage, and that's how I'm gonna start gaining my momentum get to where I want to
That's something else too that I want to talk about with real estate wise. Sometimes our people get caught up in the vision and how things look.
Yes.
So, like I want the American dream. I want the house with the white picket fence and all that good stuff. And the reality is that when they see our counterparts out there, they don't necessarily see that. Well, that's what they did when they was 19 years old, and their father went ahead and was like, "Yo, here we're going to take this stash, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to buy this multifamily. You're going to stay here, and you're going to make this, and you're going to live in here. And then when it's time for you and your wife to go, then you guys can go ahead and make that thing happen."
Yeah, it's a formula.
And I want to thank you. A couple of years ago, I'm just on Facebook. Before I knew who you was, I kept hearing your name buzzing. So then I started following you on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you out there one day, you're just doing a video, and you were talking about that very thing.
Yeah.
And how we can help our families get a leg up. So my wife and I, we learned a lot after after we bought our first house.
Yeah.
We bought a one family, right? And now as we, like, that process taught us so much, it was like, yo, we should have got the multifamily first. But what we did was my sister-in-law was going for her MSW. So we told her, leave your apartment, move in with us. Stay as long as you need to stay. Get the advanced degree, get your job. When you leave us,
Get a multi.
don't leave us and go into somebody's apartment.
Yeah.
When you leave us, buy a property. And so that thought, when I went to my wife to say, hey, tell her this, it came after I saw that.
Yeah.
Fear can do another thing. Fear can also be the fire that cooks your food.
Facts.
So I started my business because they were doing a round of layoffs 6 years ago in my department. And everybody said that it was gonna touch my class. With a family, right? You can't, it was just too much of a cut. And so I had to rely on my talent. So I'm like, what is it that I can do to supplement what I would lose if I get laid off? And so I was like, the greatest gift I got is my ability to speak to people. So I just launched it. I had no content, nothing, and I emailed University of New Haven, was like, do you need a motivational speaker for your student government association? And they were like, well, how much do you charge? And I was like, I don't know. So I called people that were motivational speakers, and they gave me like the ballpark range. And I was like, yo, I'm just going to throw this out there. I threw it out there with no content, no nothing, and they were like, yeah, come speak to these kids. I'm thinking the very day that I went in to do that, I'm thinking I'm getting my pink slip that morning. That's the only reason why I started the business, because I was going to do that after 20 years when I retired. I walk in that day, and they lay all the classes below me off, and they don't touch my class. So now I got my job,
And I got a business.
I gotta go deliver this. So I go and I deliver, and it's taken off the past 6 years, right? So that fear is what led me, the fear of like being hungry again. Because growing up,
Yes.
I remember what it was like to be hungry, right? The fear of being hungry again and my family being hungry again and like
Yeah.
being what we would call uncomfortable again is what pushed me. Now I want to talk to something that you mentioned about you guys. I had talent. You guys have talent. You got something else though, and I think as black men we got to talk about mentorship. And Avery and I've been blessed to have like good mentors growing up. I call Aaron my little brother. Mentorship is not only about the older cat who's experienced some things being willing to give of themselves. It's also
Your brother right next to
the little brother being coachable. And I'll use you as an example. Aaron started popping, and I see one of his mentors there. Troy, what's up, baby? So Aaron started popping, and I'm sitting somewhere, and there's a conversation about Aaron. None of the dudes in the room know that I know Aaron. There's a conversation about Aaron and what he got, right? I'll never forget it. So I don't say nothing. I get in my car and I call him and I say, yo, hey, your light's starting to shine a little bright. If I was you, I'll change a couple of things on social media. So we talked. Aaron didn't say, big bro, you being jealous of me. He just said, okay. And I left it alone. And all I did was I went back a week later to his social media. And I saw all the changes that we talked about. But another piece about mentorship is that the old guard, when you get access, you can't be afraid of the fact that this young gunner gonna come out and maybe do better. It's people that come into my job that look like us. I groom them, and I know, like, there's one cat, this dude gonna knock me out the box. And it is what it is. But I have to facilitate a process for him. I gotta share some of this information to accelerate, right? Because I got where, it took me too long to get where I got. I want him to get it faster. And, right, but here's the thing. Y'all was hanging with him, right? Last week. Y'all was hanging with him, and then y'all was hanging with him all week. This dude's a legend. Y'all super talented. He knows that. He's not afraid to give you everything he got. His ego's not that big. And so to be a great mentor, sometimes we gotta shrink our ego. And I get tired of seeing cats that can help somebody, right? They don't wanna do it because they're afraid that, I don't know, this little bit you got or this little status you got, you know, is gonna hurt you. But in my opinion, if Aaron says, Ty, big bro, right? Then anything he do great. I don't know nothing about music. So if Aaron called me and he say, Ty, how this sound? And I'm like, yo, you gotta synthesize, right? I don't know the language, right? I can't, it's nothing I could do with that. But there are some things that I've experienced in life that he's gonna come across, and if I could just say, yo, little bro, think about X, Y, and Z, right? Snacks and I, Snack comes to my brother's, you know, cookout. I know Snack since he was a kid too. If I'm like, yo, Snacks, boom, 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 boom. It's never like, oh, well, I got too big. We both mutually have to shrink our egos and know that it's for the greater good. And so I think as black men, we can't leave this conversation without talking about that mentorship piece.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say this real quick. It's crazy that you even touched on the mentor thing. So everybody know Troy is me and YA's mentor. When we first went to Troy's studio, he critiqued our beats. Like it was trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? We took that lesson, took it back to our studio, and we came back some few months later. Yo, y'all getting somewhere, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I feel like, to say this, I feel like New Haven as a whole, or Connecticut as a whole, can't come up just because of that reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what it is. Music,
Yeah, it is.
could be really, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody just wants their own agenda, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what's missing is the mentors. Like, if it wasn't for Troy, I don't think we would have had a mentor. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be here right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's what's missing. Like, we don't have enough mentors and whatever.
I want to touch on that too, because I don't want us to get off the topic. I just want to piggyback off what we were talking about earlier about ownership, about home ownership, and because it dawned on me that, you know, sometimes we look at other people's lives and we wonder why we not measuring up in our life when we see other people get their blessings at their time. It's, you know, it's all about education. Like, a lot of us weren't educated. Like, if you didn't grow up with a backyard and, you know, a family, a basement, that setting with a mother and father setting, somebody to tell you like, yo, look, man, this is what we do. We gonna get this house. You gonna stay here. You gonna stack till it's ready for you to get your house. If you're not educated, you do not have an idea. I'm from Brooklyn, son. Nobody talked about home ownership. We all was in that apartment trying to pass that apartment down. Like, yo, when you get out of this, I need this, bro. It's 3-bedroom.
Same
like,
here.
So, you know, that's the mentality. With that being said, you're gonna adapt to the mentality. Your upbringing is what's gonna catapult you to your greatness in the future. So if you didn't have that foundation to teach you about home ownership, nobody never taught me. You know what? This is what you need to get around. Where they say you get around 9 people that's fucking bums, you're gonna be the 10th bum. If you get around 9 people on your Japanese bike on the highway doing $120, you're gonna be the 10th one doing $129 behind them trying to catch up to them. So with that being said, you start surrounding yourself with people. I didn't want to be around the bums no more. I didn't want to, why I can't get ahead? What the fuck am I doing wrong? How is this nigga able to do? So, and I had to start, you know, I said I can't start seeing life from that perspective. I had to swallow some pride and say, yo, this dude only 29 years old, man. I'm down there touching 50. What are you doing that I need to do, bro? So now you start getting around 4 or 5 people that's buying properties. Yeah. You like, man, how old is he? He owns 4 properties. What in the world? I just want 1. Can you help me get 1? So now with that being said, that's what catapulted me, because my pride, I was scared like, damn, I'm the oldest nigga in the room. I don't own nothing. Damn, I got a barbershop, but damn, I'm still struggling. Like, yeah, all this money goes right back into the business. Like, so I'm saying to myself, I have to do something different. So with that being said, it catapulted me. It made me think outside my box. It made me, you know, I was with a woman that grew up the same way I did. So, like he said, fear. When I say, yo, I think it's time for us to try to get a crib or something, her fears start rubbing off on you. Now, why we want to do that? Because now we have more responsibility. Anything get and you like,
you gotta pay for the
why?
sink.
Because I'm paying $900.
That's
right
another
now.
big. That's
$2
another
more
big
$100. I
topic.
can have a mortgage on my own. What? So I started taking that for what it was worth, and I started asking questions. I start asking questions. I start ear hustling. I'm hearing Ethan over in the corner talking about, I'm like, yo, what y'all talking about over here? Why don't y'all share that? I need to know that. Like, so what happened? I just became a homeowner 3 years ago. I bought my first house.
Congratulations.
You know what I'm saying? And I did it. Now, and I just, before I forget this real quick and I'm move on. That's what made me say, when he said, you know, I'm single, I ain't got no kids, this, that, and the third, everybody's life is different. So he was able to get a multifamily. That worked better for him. Me, I had 3 kids, 1 almost grown. I got 2 coming up. We've been renting, so they sharing rooms. I wanted them to get that glory of having a house space, their own room setting. I didn't want them to grow up like I did with 2 bunk beds in a room. My sister's over here, my brother's over here. I said, yo, it's time. I didn't want to rent and get a multifamily. I'm back up in the top floor again, trying to get the most rent from downstairs. My kids coming up right now. I said, you know what? I want them to get that glory right now. But that's the advantage there. Now, you get your house, you start doing stuff to it. You don't think about $700 stickers. You think about, damn, I can get this basement finished. Yep. Damn, I can add a bathroom. Because you're adding equity to the house that you can borrow from.
What's equity?
Equity is
The house is
money that's left over on this house that you can take from. Because you're invested into your own property. So the more you invest into your property and build, do the bathroom over, do a driveway over, finish the basement, do your kitchen over, you're adding more value to the house. You're adding more value. I'm gonna let y'all speak on because y'all really know. I just want to tell you like this, I'm just learning stuff. So you start adding on the house and now your kid's future, you can take a couple of dollars from your property to invest in their education if you want to do that. You can
from your property.
From the property as you start investing in it and you start fixing it up and you start putting it. And I'm gonna let them elaborate on that more because I'm fresh to this. I'm fresh. So like he said, I stopped worrying about what I look like and what I'm wearing and how much these kicks cost. Hardy is. I'm looking like, damn, I can go get that mulch and get this curb appeal right.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mindset starts changing.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what once you start doing it, now you like, okay, I can hand this down to my kids. So everywhere we go, I'd be like, damn, you see that? You can live on the top floor and rent all that. I start putting that mindset into them now. And that's how it's educational. You hand it down. So now my kids, they be like, Dad, well, I hope you're ready to move to California because I'm not buying my house here in Connecticut. Like, they talk like that now. And that lets me know I've done my job. Yeah. So now I want y'all to elaborate on the rest of that.
Amir, so on the equity part, let me break it down. Let me do a flag here. So we talked about home ownership, how it's important, right? Yeah. How to get it. You have loans, FHA loans, Bank of America has a loan, these things right now. Once you do that and get a home, okay, you can get things like equity out of a home, right? All right, now, how profitable is equity to a homeowner?
All right, so I purchased my home back. I closed January 8th, 2016 on my home. My first home was a 3-family on Hubinger Street. I bought it for $209,000.
3-family, that's great.
3-family. It was at the time. At the time, it was when the recession had just ended and the house market started to come back up. So I went ahead and, I kind of went into the property and fixed up a few things. I made the first floor.
I don't want to be rude. I apologize. You paid $209,000. Now remember, this conversation with people, we're not used to this. That's
okay. My down payment. Okay, I'll explain.
Hold on. Let me ask the question right quick. Okay. You paid $209,000. Now that's how much the house was worth. How much did you have to pay to get the house? What did you do to get the house?
So the process of buying the house, you need a down payment. You also, for a 3-family, you need a reserve. And that's a lot of the times that gets caught with our people is the reserve. So I had to have $8,000 pretty much for the down payment. And also because I worked at the university, and this goes to everybody here that works at the university and hospital, that there is a program where they will give you $7,500 for your down payment. So that's exactly what I did.
At the wrong
so
place.
When I then when I went ahead and I actually purchased my home, I tell people this all the time. The first 2 months of having a mortgage, you don't have to pay your mortgage. So when you own a 3-family and it's rented, that means you get paid for pretty much almost all your money back, especially if you buy around $8,000. So when I ended up, when I first bought, so I explained it a little bit further. So I bought for $209,000. I had 2 tenants. I had a tenant on the 2nd floor and a 3rd floor. Like I said, for the first 2 months, I bought it earlier in the month. That way I can make sure I got pretty much most of those rents to come back. So I got most of those rents to come back. So I ended off with, I think, approximately like $6,000, something like that, with everything that was all done. I didn't spend most of my money because, like I said, Yale gave me the $7,500. I rocked out with that $7,500. I caked that up while I was all set. I took that money that I had, the little extra money, and I started to fix up the property. My wife at the time was like, we need 3 bedrooms. The apartment was a 2-bedroom. So I went ahead and I fixed it up, fixed the living room, made that into a 3-bedroom property. I fixed the bathroom up, painted, did a couple other things, and we moved in. I then had, like, she started complaining the tenants are too loud. They're walking over our head. I want a single family. I said, all right, well, let's go look and see how much the property's worth. So we went ahead in a year's time, from me doing my little things like replacing a furnace here, painting on the outside, adding 3 bedrooms to the first and the second floor. My property came back valued at $412,000.
From what? Starting price again? 209 to 4.
$412,000. I took $130,000 of equity out. I had $130,000 of cash. So then my biggest thing was, what else am I going to buy?
Yes, the formula worked.
That's where it started.
So I went ahead and I bought a house on Columbus Avenue because, you know, of course, if you do any type of research here in New Haven, you know the Hill is going to be the new downtown.
Yep.
Like, that's going to be the whole
pushing
thing.
forward. They pushing forward.
So I bought closest to downtown as I possibly could. The next portion is that I went ahead and I started looking for fixer-uppers in like the Westville Woodbridge area. So I got in Upper Westville at the time. The property that I bought was $195,000. I took some of the rest of the money. I fixed up my house up a little bit. That and the third. I did an assessment recently. It came back at $269,000. But the cool thing is that there's houses that are on my block right now that are now selling for $400,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's it.
All right, so let me let me be the, not the devil's advocate, but the bearer of bad news to a lot of people. So
This is not going to happen for everybody.
Yes, you caught it at a really, really good time. I mean,
but you caught about a $200,000 house, right? About around there, right? And you paid about let's call it even. You paid about $10,000 to get the property, right?
Yeah.
Now that $10,000 that you put into yourself puts you at a place where now, just from your story alone, I just count your pockets. I don't do this, but I just count your pockets. You worth almost $1 million.
Pretty much.
Just from that $10,000.
Just from buying 3 cribs.
That's fast.
Okay. So,
And like I said, my first crib was bought in 2016. It's 2020.
okay, so $10,000. Now,
That's 4 years.
With $8,000.
With $8,000.
right, hold on.
And
So
some of that wasn't your money. That was your money.
that was Yale money.
It was Yale money.
Okay, so let's break this down, fellas. Everybody doesn't work at Yale. Let's just put that out there. Let's be real, right? $10,000. Okay.
And niggas want to
People
get
are walking around with jewelry, glasses, accessories, and things of that nature.
That's right.
An outfit
That's right.
that costs more than $10,000.
That's facts.
Now, a $10,000 investment in yourself can make you $1 million.
That's facts.
Now, let's break this down again. Amir, where you from, bro?
I'm from New Haven.
Okay, what part of New Haven, bro?
All parts of New Haven. I lived everywhere.
Okay.
Downtown.
All right. Amir got an honest job, or he made his money how he made it. He did what he had to do. Hold on, fellas. Because I want to make this clear. Hold on, brother. $10,000 is an amount. That ain't shit. Our people spend $10,000 about 5 times a year.
Facts.
I'm not talking about people with good jobs.
Yep.
I'm talking about people who's talking about they live their life. They got to go on vacation. They doing this.
They chasing the bag.
The cars, right?
Christmas,
But
birthdays.
listen, all that is great. But what I'm saying is $10,000 just made my man a millionaire.
That's facts.
And this is not something that he had to ask my permission to do. If $10,000 could change your life like that,
It can.
we have to understand the power of money.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. And
Hold up.
To be honest, it's like, you know, we love the material things. We love to spend money. But, like, a lot of people, they can't wait to the back end. But, like, imagine a time in which it feels good to be like, yo, you got on this and you got on that or whatever, and in your mind you thinking like, because I'm worth $1 million, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I could justify buying this, buying that because I'm worth this. Now buying that is light, as opposed to I'm still living here, but I got all this drip or whatever, but I don't
have
own
anything.
nothing.
We got it.
But the issue is though, our people don't know.
We not educated.
My thing is, I knew, but
Hold up.
This is the first time many people gonna know $6,000 to $10,000.
You know what all boils down to? It's really simple. It's not that hard. It's about discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline
I'm
is
learning it
sacrifice.
right now. Like why you said, we've been getting money for a little while now. We've been in the industry about 10 years now. You know what I'm saying? So like it's something I'm learning daily. You know what I'm saying? It really boils down to discipline. We wasn't taught discipline with money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Why you think they got broke NFL athletes, NBA athletes?
Yo, to piggyback off y'all what y'all saying. To piggyback off what y'all saying, I understand. He had that bread. A lot of people have that bread. They don't have the credit. Their credit was messed up when they was kids. Their mother was putting bills in their names and all of that things. Like we didn't have like a lot of people didn't have that research. They didn't have their parents didn't have that knowledge.
I always talk about the credit issue.
So yeah, that's the lot of problem for a lot of people.
There's always one person in everybody's family that got their stuff. I don't care if it's auntie so and so or uncle this and that and the third. Yeah. For me, I didn't go to my family. We went to my wife's family at the time, and it was her mother. Her mother had her stuff together. So what we asked her mother to do was to put us on her largest and oldest line of credit. She put my name on it. My credit shot up 300 points. I went from I said 300, 200 points. And that's the thing about credit too, is that when you get your credit pulled a lot of the times, you find out you be having some bullshit.
That is the key. That's
$25.
That's what we gotta educate our people. That's what we gotta educate our people. That's where it starts, right there, brother.
Hold on, let me go to that T word that we was talking about though. Yeah. This conversation, like we could have the conversation. Somebody's gonna watch this video and be like, "This dude is lying," right? It goes back to the T word. It goes back to trust. And a lot of times, there's curators of information that are trying to deliver information, and because we've been taught to distrust. We put it like this: we've been taught to distrust the system, right?
Much less each other.
We've bought so much into distrusting the system that we don't trust ourselves. So if I don't trust myself, how can I trust?
Why should I trust this guy?
And so we have to be able to start to open that process of trust. Because here's the thing: Amir, it was like follow Amir, because somebody's trying to get us in a room together, and I think like he never did the panel or something. But it was like, follow this dude. And you know the first thing I did, let me start running this cat. Let me see if he's
first thing you find on my page is a bunch of funny shit. Right. Because I'm a clown with you first. Right. We gonna clown. We gonna have fun.
You gotta sort through it, right? And then I'm like, yo, this dude is credible. This dude is trustworthy. So when he starts dropping stuff, sometimes he's dropping stuff and I'm like, well, I gotta go research that because it's outside of my realm, right? I don't understand it. But it gives he's dropping tools that we can connect to, right? I think another thing is social media has become huge, and so information is put out there. Some information you're gonna agree with, some information you're gonna disagree with. This cancel culture that we're in, where it's like, yo, this cat said something I don't like, or he said something different than my beliefs, so I'm gonna stop following him. No, I'm gonna research what he says, and I'm gonna see if there's any validity that I can apply to my own life.
All right, since we there, you went to the right place I wanted to go. Listen, just because it's on somebody living good on social media doesn't mean you're in a race with them in your life. Everyone has a different race in life. Everyone stop thinking you're a failure because you're not where you see one of the people that you like or somebody that you know. You're not a failure yet. You just didn't get there yet. You didn't find the right plug. You didn't find the right mentor. You didn't take that game from your older dude on your block. You didn't or the person in your family who really successful, and y'all just come around like, oh, look, he think he got it. He got it for a reason. Go ask him how he got it. You know what I mean? So stop thinking. We literally have to teach these kids to stop thinking they're failures in their teens, and they're failures in their 20s. Like, come on.
And this
30s.
is why
People feel like they're failures because they're not at a certain spot in life yet. No, you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. That's just a part of your story. Like, just keep adding to your story and be great. Like,
and I think embracing failure because I never look at anything as a loss, right? It's an opportunity to learn. So when I don't hit a mark, because I don't call it a loss or a failure. When I don't hit a mark, I love it because then it gives me an opportunity to reassess, and it gives me an opportunity. I think I heard one of y'all say it under your breath to work harder, right? Because sometimes what we say is we're like, oh, don't worry about what the next man got. Well, goddamn it, I saw some stuff when Aaron was with Troy. I want it, so I got to work to get it.
Yeah.
I'm not envying him, but I want it.
You know what it is?
So in order to get it, I gotta work to get. I gotta book some more gigs. I gotta put some more content out there. I gotta continue to let my job fund my dream, right? And so I gotta work a little bit harder. And I know you guys know this from your business, right? If somebody chair short, you gotta be like, bro, well, it's a clientele thing. We ain't getting no foot traffic. Well, you gotta go out there and you gotta get some people in your chair, right? Because I need that rent, right? Yeah. And the same thing with houses. Like these cats ain't just sitting around like, yeah, I'm a real estate agent and I'm on Facebook. People just gonna come to me. No, they're out there looking for clients. When he defeated the system, he was out there looking for clients. When this cat was going for 106 in Park and became Mr. Tuskegee and then came back home and became Mr. New Haven, it was Mr. New Haven and Mr. Tuskegee at the same time. When he was doing all that, he was putting work in. You know what I'm saying? And I think you make a great point, Bugatti. Like, don't look at folks and be like, well, I must be a failure if I'm not where they're at. But if you see somebody doing well, that's the indicator for me that I got to start running fast.
One thing that I actually just recently I was watching was the Jordan series that came up. Yeah. And so, one of the things that I talk to my son about this all the time too, because one of the things, if he doesn't get it right away, he gets pissed off. And it's like, so the one thing I tell him all the time, you're not going to get to the championship without practice. You're not going to go ahead and you're not going to get into this thing and just be like the winner and not be in the gym. So you're going to have to go ahead and you're going to put forth that effort. Just recently, too, I was listening to Fantasia and her husband's podcast. And her husband used the term stretch marks. And he said, he referred back to Cat Williams and his joke. He said, I love women with stretch marks. It means that either you was big and got small or you was small and got big. And what we have to do is we also have to take that approach in life, and especially in business. When we get hit down or when things don't go the right way, that's a stretch mark. It's either I'm small trying to get big, or I was big and I got small. But either way, I'm still in the game.
Yeah, I just want to interject real quick. I just want to say, we can I use my social media platform to try to educate and uplift. Strictly for that. I don't use it for nothing else. I promote the barbershop. I try to show that there are great fathers. I try to show that, we exist. I use because there's so much bad stuff going on. So with that being said, we got to change the narrative on educating our kids. See, I think this pandemic was so much of a blessing, bro. It was so much of a blessing for me, the world. Everybody in this room has a testimony of a blessing that came out of this pandemic. So with that being said, I think that from this meeting that we have right here, the only way we're gonna reach the masses is if we continue this. And I say, we use the barbershop as a platform, and I say, we're gonna have a classwork, a seminar at the barbershop where these brothers are gonna show you how you can turn 8,000 into an empire if you just discipline yourself, because we do not have discipline, and we don't tell our kids. We will uplift a brother if he walk in the room, Troy walk in the room, a brother going to see, these young kids will see Troy and don't even know his work ethic or what he doing in life, but they'll look at his outfit and go, oh, shit, look at them J's, my nigga.
Troy's my cousin.
We uplift the wrong things. They'll look at your chain, they'll look at your glasses.
Troy's my cousin.
But
I remember Troy.
We uplift the wrong things.
Little kids and everybody outside playing, guess what Troy was doing? Playing on his keyboard.
See, you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so
with that being said, I think what we need to do is, if all of us start using our platform to just change the narrative, say, fuck what they teaching in school. I love the fact that my kids had this break from school because I got to teach them everything but that shit they're learning in school. I got to bring them with me to show them like, look, you see all this shit stacking up? We hurting. These is bills. You see this money I got? I'm pulling out this money, thousands in front of my son. He like, Dad, all that money? I'm like, yeah. Now come with me. I'm gonna show you why I gotta give it all the fuck away. None of it is mine. He like, Dad, we can't keep none of that. So it's a reality check. They have to see it. My kids got their own bank account. They go. Now when they get a little $20, he be like, Dad, can I put $5 in the bank? You see what I'm saying? You have to build it up to them. They have to know. It starts with your credit. It just starts with just simply paying a bill on fucking time.
It comes back to responsibility. That's the word that all you guys are using here. Self-responsibility. Yes, we came from the hood. Yes, we have fucked up backgrounds. Yes, our parents put our bills in our names and didn't give us a head start. Yes, we didn't have the knowledge. But now you know that. Now it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to figure it out. It's free to get knowledge. It's free to get information, especially today. Like you got cats like Aaron putting this together, putting all these minds together. This is free. We ain't had this. There's nowhere in hell I was going to find. This would have been on PBS somewhere. Yeah, I would have never ever. I would have flipped this channel. You know what I'm saying?
When that PBS
self-responsibility. If there's one thing that people watching this could leave here with today, is just take the self-responsibility to do better for yourself. Figure out your knowledge of yourself.
That's great.
I know you're supposed to be asking the questions, but I have a question for you. What made you decide that you wanted to be more than music, that you wanted to be more than a producer, that you wanted to come back and do stuff like this, that you wanted to come back and do projects like You and the Elm and all that? Like, what made you guys decide that you wanted to do more than just make money and floss on cats and actually use your voices to teach kids and all this other stuff?
I mean, we're musicians, so the biggest bar that I love Jay-Z ever said, and I've been thinking about like this my whole life, is what's better than 1 millionaire? 2. Ever since I was a little kid, I've never wanted to do nothing alone. The You and the Elm was not us trying to put people on. We was just like, nigga, it'll be better if it was more of us.
You're not the only one going to roof crates.
Because if we make a team and we make another producer that's just as hot as us, that's more money. That's more in the pot. It's just simple. Honestly, it's simple numbers. It's simple. It's just simple. It's logic. It's just logic. And our people, honestly, what we've learned is that God has blessed us with enough time for the survival. I don't know, the survival, itch to kick in. And our biggest, plan in our career is to educate enough kids early enough that the survival itch doesn't kick in and they can get enough education so they know what to do before it kicks in. Because it's gonna kick in regardless. It's the fact is, when is it gonna kick in and are you gonna be prepared for it? Yeah. So, yes, me and Snatch run into a lot of walls because we try to help the people that are itching. But at the end of the day, that's our hearts. Yep. But our minds are saying we have to educate these kids before the itch starts. And that's the biggest thing. The reason why we're here today is not because we're gonna reach all the adults. Yes, I'm happy if we reach all the adults. But these children, the 14-year-olds that, even the 11-year-old that the parents let them on Instagram that really shouldn't be on Instagram, but they like me and Snacks because we wear the chains and the Cardis, guess what? We throwing this on our page and they're gonna get this gem. That's what's important.
So then let's go back a little bit further. I think Grambling, university, music, scholarship. I remember, right? Because you was working for me at Leap and we were sorting through what the future was gonna look like. And then I think I don't remember, you started the school thing and you called me one day and you was like, bro, so I'm gonna not do this school thing and I'm gonna do the music thing. I remember that. And that was the first time I was advising a kid on college and that I was 100% sure that your plan was gonna work. Just because of my belief in you. I'm like, the kid touch it, it turns to gold. He said he got a plan and I knew you had good built-in mentors. So you asked us about that piece, ownership and business and all that. And I know Snacks did the whole school thing, went all the way through. So you guys have this really interesting dynamic that you can present to these kids. For you, What would you say to the parent who has a kid that has a special talent, but they think the only path to success is college? What would you say to that parent?
A parent's job is to help their child succeed. That's it. A parent's job isn't to a parent's job isn't to give them their formula all the time. The parent's job is, because you're smarter than your child at a certain age, is to figure out the formula where your child is going towards, so you can give them the way to go. So, like my son, he loves this thing called Roblox, right? And he loves this thing. What's the other one? Minecraft, right? But the thing is, it's a shooting game. It's great, but also it's an architect. You have to build things. Kids give my son Robux to build their stuff because he's really good at it.
He could be a robotic engineer.
He loves doing it, right? So what do? I give him little books. I give him a little fun. We do science projects, but it has to do with architect, but he don't know. You know what I'm saying? I could walk past a house and say, Aaron, if that house costs 100, he loves property. I didn't teach him. Aaron, that house costs $100,000. You got to put 10% down there, $10,000. He'll tell you he's good at numbers. This is a gift. God has blessed him with it. It's my job to become the best real estate guru, the best. I have to learn this stuff because that's in him.
Nurture that.
Right? So parents have to understand it's your job to study your kid and then study what you know they're going through. Now, they may switch when they're 15. Guess what?
Fact.
It don't matter. That's your job to figure it out. It's not their job.
That's right.
So when your kids say, I don't want to go to school no more, why? You sit down with them, and if they have a legitimate reason,
That's right.
it's your job to figure it out.
Speak on that, Slay.
So I'm glad we got into this because a lot of people know like that I'm an event MC and a host, but a lot of people don't know that I've been working in education for like the past 9 years. So, and now I'm a school counselor. So, and I meet with a lot of high schoolers and they have no idea what they want to do. And they always say, I hate school, I got like a 1.7 GPA, which is like a low C, D area or whatever. Like, so I know I'm really not college material. Well, first of all, I tell them, don't cut yourself short because everybody is college material. It's always about how hard you're willing to work to get there. But I said, but if you're truly not interested, I always tell them, think about it this way. Somebody got to put in this floor. Somebody got to do the plumbing.
Right.
Somebody got to do the lights.
Trade.
And we just talking about the things that are in this room. I said, I know people that they own their own business. So you could start off at 15, 16 as an apprentice in high school, learning to be a plumber, and then you work for a plumber, and then you stack your bread up. You got to have the discipline to stack your bread up, and now you have your own practice. Now look at you. It's 10, 15 years later, you 30-something, and you looking at the next kid reaching back at 15, like, let's get back and get this money. But I always tell kids,
he's telling my story.
Always tell kids, and I have a bachelor's and a master's degree, but I never tell people like this is the path. Because the fact of the matter is, like, people will look at me like, yo, you got all these degrees, Avery or Slay, and you're articulate or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still don't own a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's to tell people that that's not necessarily the way. I know people that didn't go to college that have way more than me that got properties. I know people that are millionaires and stuff like that. I got 2 degrees, and I know people that have 0 degrees that are way far ahead of me as far as money and ownership and properties and things of that nature.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the path. That's just the path that because my grandparents on my mother's side have college degrees. Both of my parents have their master's degrees. So that was my pedigree growing up. That's what I was taught. But growing up, knowing and seeing things, I always tell people, yo, that don't necessarily got to be the way. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, you can go to college and you can have a lot of fun and you could get certain knowledge and stuff like that, but when you go to college, you kind of just got to know your path and what you want to do.
Now, my thing is, one story about me and Snacks that a lot of people may not know is, like Ty said, I didn't go to school, Snacks went to school. Snacks went to Berkeley, one of the most renowned music schools in the world.
I didn't want to go there, by the way.
He didn't want to go there, but nonetheless he went, right? When Snacks I think it was his sophomore year or junior year. middle of sophomore year. I'm Troy, our mentor. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. We gotta make this clean. Let's make this clean. Me and Snacks, we become the breed. We want to make beats. 09, right? We grind. Troy picks us up. He finally gives us a shot. Our career is starting. Soon as our careers start, quote unquote, to our knowledge, it's time for Snacks to go to school. Now this is reality. Remember,
6 months in.
right? This is dream and reality. We talking dream, reality. Dream is Troy picked us up. We on. Reality is Snacks' mother said, you going to Berkeley, right? Boom. Snacks is doing this thing. I'm still doing my thing with Troy. Snacks is sending beats. We're doing what we have to do. Snacks is doing his thing at school. Sophomore year comes through. I'm in New York. Now Troy has finally gave us the blessings to go to New York because he believes in us now. So now I'm actually in the field now. Snacks is saying this is when the social media boom was really like booming. This is like I'm posting pics and shit, you know. So Snacks probably sitting in the door like this is some bullshit, like you know what I'm saying, like right, like right. Exactly.
When I called.
This is when he called me, right. So Snacks called me like, yo, bro, I'm in Queens. I remember like it was yesterday at Cito crib. Shout out to Cito. Bro, I'm good. I'm about to pack my shit. I'm done with this shit. I already told my mom's grandma they mad at me, but I don't care, bro. I told Snacks, if he drops out of school, I won't fuck with him ever again. Now, this is 2 reasons why I told Snacks that. The first reason I told Snacks that is because, one, as a black man, you gotta understand that when you see your brother in an opportunity, it's your job to make sure he fulfills that opportunity. And a lot of black people don't do that.
Accountability.
We see our boys get on at a good job, right? But we'll go out to drink with him and shit, and then he'll lose his job because he over. That's fucked up on your half. It's 2 halves. It's his and it's yours. I told Snacks, if you drop out of school, that's done. Now, I also looked at the other side. Aaron, this is an investment for the breed.
Agreed.
Why is this an investment for the breed, Aaron? Because if we have a part owner of the business that is educated and has a degree, our worth goes up.
From Berkeley.
From Berkeley. So now
They gotta pay you for
right. So now I'm thinking real estate mind without even knowing what real estate was at the time. Because I'm like, one day we're gonna take some equity out of this education. You understand what I'm saying?
That's facts.
And a lot of people gotta understand, when you got niggas in the hood that's good at basketball or good at something, it's your job to protect them.
Yes.
It's not the it's the coach job. Don't get me wrong.
Nah, you're right.
Yes, it's the principal. Yes, I get that.
It's the village.
When your boy, if you see that nigga got talent, the reason why we in the position we in now because we sit back and do like this. This nigga dumb. Look at this nigga. He wildin'.
Right.
You know different than a snitch. You know different than a thief. You know different.
Instead of saying you see him going somewhere, yo, bro, what you doing over here, bro?
Or if you do that, I'm not fucking with you no more.
You about to go to UConn next month, like
Because
you can't be over here.
Because look,
So I
because
was
the biggest thing is if Snacks would have dropped out of school, I wouldn't have fucked with him, and that's a repercussion he had to pay.
And to go even further, he was right all these years later because we go in certain rooms and certain meetings. All I say is I went to Berkeley. That's making the whole conversation change.
But
And the price goes up.
But is there?
All because I gave him listen. You take this
Right.
pill or you take this pill.
But Aaron, there was already equity in that relationship because you didn't start at the beginning. I remember when I was dropping my brother off with Snacks and Tony, and you were teaching them drumming.
Right.
So that equity goes all the way back to then, and you are a high school student doing that, I believe, right?
Right
And
out.
So,
Just
yeah,
fresh
right
out.
out. So I think that's huge, but I do want to say, and New Haven is better at this, in my opinion, than we give New Haven credit for. There are times and moments where the hood rallies around the kid that they think gonna make it. Like the Ville definitely did that with me. Like when I left for school, and I only went down the street to Central, right? Like I went 35 minutes away. But when I left, like the whole hood was behind me. And when I would come home, sometimes I'd be walking and I'm like, yo, could you give me a ride back to my house? Nah, little Ty, I can't bring you. You can't get in this car. I'm dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that. And what a lot of people don't know about me, and I like to share this. I share this every speaking engagement I do. Anytime I'm in front of kids, I dropped out of college twice. You know what I'm saying? I got my degree 10 years after I was supposed to get it. And a lot of people didn't know that because my talent was getting me into jobs that you were supposed to have a degree for. So people just assumed that I had it. And instead of lying, I would sit in front of a kid at Leap and I'm like, look, I'm your college advisor and I got to go back to school. And so then I had to teach them, how do you go to school and not be like me, right? Because I went to school with a chip on my shoulder. There were things I didn't know, and the fear and lack of trust in people and myself, I didn't want to ask for help and all that. So whatever it is that you choose to do, if it's you're going to college, ask for help. If it's you're going into a trade, like Slade was talking to some kids about, ask for help. If you're going to get into music, ask for help, right? Whatever it is that you do, you got to ask for help, and you got to be able to say, you know what, Master Yoda? Whatever you say to me, I'm going to take it and try to apply it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to take the chip off our shoulder because there are just some things that we don't know. You know what I mean? And there's experts in the room.
I wanna just jump on what you said.
All right, pause. Watch yourself.
About you stupid.
Pause.
I'm old. You know I'm old. I'm from the old.
Major pause.
But now,
after he says this, we have one more topic, then we're done.
Can
all
I
right?
touch on the community protecting people going?
Yes.
No, but I just want to say that, you know, we like he said, we gotta try to find out our child's niche in life, because most of it ain't education. Like it's not the college way. That was when our great grandparents was growing up, because that's what they were taught. That's what was instilled in them about getting the education, get your degree, and you can go work for the master, and hopefully they'll give you a job with your paper. You see what I'm saying? We're not at that time no more. We are raising a lot of entrepreneurs right now. We are raising a lot of people that have their own talents, and they know they tapping into that right now. But what we got to do, like you said, is nurture that, because somebody did that for me. Nurture. I knew school wasn't going to be my way. I knew I had to get some kind of trade or something. And it only takes, like you said, an OG to just open they tired. They older. They can't lift stuff anymore. But we got to direct our kids there. Like, yo, look, man. They got Eli Whitney over here, but no, they got this old dude over here that needs some help. He'll be more than welcome to have you help him lift some boilers downstairs or help him. You see what I'm saying? So we got to educate our kids on entrepreneurism. And I tried to do that at one time. I tried to dedicate my life into going to these high schools and you know, persuading kids to tap into their entrepreneurism. And they fought against me tooth and nail because it's a business. They want them to go to college, to pay them debts, get in debt before you graduate. You know, and they fought against me tooth and nail because I was one of the percentage that made it out, and I wanted to enlighten the rest of my young brothers and sisters, and they didn't want me to do it because it fights against everything that they're teaching them in school to go get this education, further your education. And so we got to, once, like you said, once we start doing that, change the narrative, we stop worrying about and glorifying what we look like, what we're driving that depreciates as soon as we take it off the goddamn lot. Say, yo, you know what? I don't like the tires. Can I bring this right back? They're going to tell you, yo, you just took 12 grand off that, man. What? All I did was go around the block. So once we gotta change the narrative and change our kids' focus on what, you know, generational wealth, financial freedom. We've been talking about this way before. It ain't take Jay-Z and all these niggas. Everybody trying to give what old boy that passed away, like buying back the hood and all this, not living, buying back where your mother lives, she renting it. Like, we have to change that. They have to see us doing it. And I realize you can't tell your son to read if he never see you read it. Oh, you got to read this, son. So you gotta fake it till you make it. I fake it till I make it. I hear my son coming downstairs. I'll pick up a magazine or something. He'd be like, Dad, can I be like, I just hold on my finger. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, Dad. All right, Dad, what's up, son? Nah, Dad, what's that? I was just checking this article. Like, what's going on? He's like, nah, Dad, you stopped me in the middle, like, what was your, because he see me reading. I can't tell him to do something he never see me do. I'll fake it till I make it. My son, I play psychological games with my son so much that now he holds me accountable. You see what I'm saying? I hear him coming down, start telling him, work out. You got to work out. You got to do your pushes. He stopped seeing me doing. Why should he going to do them for you? So now I hear him coming down the stairs. I check, 49. He be like, Dad, you did the 50 push-ups? You did 50, Dad? Oh, I'm gonna do 20, Dad. See, you see what I'm saying? So they gotta see you doing it. We can talk till we blue in the face, but they don't go by what you say. They go by your example. You see what I'm trying to tell you? So, the toe raises. He seen Bugatti. We was at a game. We was at a game. Yeah, we was at a game. So he was walking. He was at the game. He didn't wild out yet. He was in the layup line. So I told my son, I said, son, you see that guy right there? He could dunk that ball, son. He got hops. My son was like, Dad, he's your height. I said, nah, he got hops. He got bunnies. I said, watch this. I said, yo, Gotti, my son don't think you could dunk. Gotti was like, oh, word? You know Gotti. Gotti said, yo, this dude went up, did a 360. Ever since that day, my son has been a fan of Gotti. So I said, Gotti, if you can give my son, and this is mentorism. This goes back to mentorism. I said, Gotti, if you can give my son any advice that you wish somebody older would have told you while you were younger that could have elevated you to the next level, whether it be life, whether it be sports. He said, yo, because my son wouldn't know how he jumped like that. He said, yo, little man, yo, just do your toe raises, little man. Rip your calf muscles. I was like, tell him, I don't got no calves. Could you tell him? So ever since that day, that was 2.5, almost 3 years ago, my son has been doing 25 toe raises every single day. He will not do a toe raise because he wants to dunk in somebody's face. That's his passion. Like, his passion is basketball. If you go on my Instagram, it's like his life. That's all I try to expose him to everything. I take him fishing. We go hiking. But it goes right back. As soon as we get back, Dad, I gotta go put up 100 shots. Like, everything I just did was, but it's not working now, but it's gonna work later in life.
Yeah, you're still making him well-rounded.
I'm making him well-rounded. He plays chess, he does everything. So that mentorship, if you give these kids something coming from like looking like this early, it's gonna stick to them. So that's why this is important what we're doing right now. We gotta have these little workshops where we getting the kids who 13, 14, yo, get your credit right. All you gotta do is sign on the dotted line.
So my question, and this is the last topic. Let's go back to your son. He's fortunate. My son, he's fortunate. Most kids aren't. So let's go back to the root of what's going on in our community, okay? And let's talk about one thing that I know is going to get kind of crucial, but it has to be talked about. Let's talk about the violence, okay? Now, there's two sides. One side is black on black, and the other side is they putting us in positions to have to do what we do.
Police state.
That's a fact. I talk to a lot of my boys, my little, we mentor a lot of young dudes, and they come to the studio, and the only way they come to the studio if they do their work, they can't be a part of the Breed Academy unless they have a certain grade average, right. X, Y, and Z. And we talk to them regular, we talk. Like, what up, nigga? What's good? And, one of the kids, yo, look at this gun I got in it. Why you got that gun? Like, we like, what you got that for? That's ugly. Why you, I'm trying to break his wall. Right. Niggas trying to shoot me. What you mean? Why you trying to why they trying to shoot you? The nigga from the Ville, but his mom moved him to the tray. That nigga live right near me now.
How we ever gonna stop
So
that?
these are situations, but at the same time, there's accountability when it gets to a certain age as well, I believe. Because a lot of the deaths, there's young killing young kids, but it's also adults. Man, a lot of these young kids is looking at who? So
it goes back to what we were saying earlier though. There's not a lot of mentors, not a lot of people like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Ty is he you know what I'm saying? He'll tell somebody about themselves, but it's not a lot of mentors telling them, like, sitting them down, tapping in, you know what I'm saying, relating to them. The people that's trying to tell them something not relatable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's like one of my real passions in life. I mentor a lot of kids. Like, they see what I be doing, like with the music and everything, but it's way more than that. I just really want to be the one to stop the cycle, or try at least stop the cycle of certain kids. And you got to bring it to them early. I just was dealing. I'm about to show you the process right now.
I talk about this a lot.
The process right now, breaking it down. I had this one little dude. He real bad. He had come from a foster home and everything. He just found out that his mom was not his real mother. He thought it was his real mother his whole life. So he was just hurt over that. Like, he holding on, bottling up so much hurt. So, man, he's a good kid. Everybody says he's bad. To me, he's a good kid. I never seen the bad side of him because he see Bugatti, I got to be a certain way. So I'm giving him game. I was with him for like 3 weeks. I'm giving him game. And I'm just telling him, like, yo, this is not cool. Like the things that you're doing, like the drug, you want to be around the drug dealers, you want to be around these dudes, you want to carry guns. You carrying a gun for this dude, you get caught, you gone. He ain't putting no money on your books. Where you gonna help out? He can do nothing for you. You gonna call him, he ain't gonna pick up. He gonna go get your girlfriend. That's what he gonna do. He gonna be smashing your girlfriend when you come home just gonna say she was a thot. That's what's gonna happen for you. That's reality. Or you're gonna get shot. The cops gonna grab you up and they're gonna shoot you. Ain't no questions asked. We can't even march over that. Like,
So what do you say to the kid that you're saying that to, but he's saying like, yeah, like if I go to jail, nigga, that's more stability I'm getting in jail than I'm getting at the crib.
but that's the
Like I'm
thing.
more
That's
comfortable.
what
At least I get
but
a meal every day.
The stability is me being there. I got my crib. If you want to come, you can come stay with me. Get whatever you need. Like I give
So
the big
this
brother.
is-
I give the big brother shit.
What
like,
do you say to a kid that's living that lifestyle, that's in it already, and you tell him to put his gun down, and he die tomorrow? Because he lived that lifestyle. I can't put my gun down.
So
I'm gonna
this
die.
is
These kids
one
are
of the
living that
biggest things.
life.
Like this is a thing that I talk about a lot, especially at the barbershops that I frequent. The problem unfortunately with the black community is we need a cultural shift, and we've had several cultural shifts throughout history. And right, so like the biggest thing is that the cultural shift right now, especially for African American males, is that in order for you to be a man, it's either through your dick or through your hands. So it's either how many bitches I fuck or how many niggas I fucked up or shot. And unfortunately, until we actually adjust that and shift that to somewhere else through mentorship, through actually for people to see me out here and go like, yo, I ain't involved in none of that. I just make my bread. And I take care of my family. For them to see you doing the same thing and to be like, yo, we ain't about that nonsense. That's nonsense. All it does is breed more and more nonsense. So it's a big thing. Like I said, it's a cultural shift. You gotta understand a lot of these cultural shifts came through not from our community. They came from outside of our community.
Yeah.
So I think opportunity and hope, right? So if you think about it, if you don't have opportunity, what you're gonna do? Go back to surviving, that itch to survive. If there's no opportunity, I think a lot of these people, these young cats, don't see enough people that look like them make it out, right?
We make it out and never come back.
Yeah, you make it out, you move to the suburbs, right? I've spent my life, I'm from the Bronx. I had a bunch of people shelter me because they all thought I was going to be an attorney. I didn't want to be an attorney. It was just because my guidance counselor was telling me, "Oh, you talk back too much. You need to be an attorney." And so my cousins just thought that I was going to law school. I didn't want to go to law school. I just wanted to be an elected official. I just wanted to be a politician that helped bring opportunities to my community, right? So I just think if we provide more opportunities for them, like internships, where they could learn skills, like drugs. Think about it. They're about to legalize marijuana. That was something that put us in prison, black men in prison. Now you can be an entrepreneur. Now you can invest in the
Not
agriculture,
necessarily.
right?
They
And now
put
you can
roadblocks up for that.
Yeah, right. And so they just need to see opportunity, and they need people to come back and provide hope to them. And that's what the gangbangers and the OGs who are the gang members are giving them. They're giving them hope and a sense of responsibility and acceptance. Most of these kids, right, if you think about the mental health, they wasn't accepted by their parents. They didn't get any love, and they're getting love from everybody in the street, and so they feel like it's popular that, you know what, I'm getting love from, I don't know, the gangs here or the Ville or
But that's the
whatever.
problem. You see,
you gotta take it back to the love and the
that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there, real quick. Did you hear what he said? He said a young man, mom moved from one residential area to another. See, we that's the problem. We're divided so much. We're territorial. And
Over stuff that they don't own.
The kid don't ask for that. They don't ask that.
And check this out. Not only are we territorial, but this is why I feel like this is where the problem lies. This is what's going to be hard to dig at the root. When you hear a 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy beefing a handed down beef from somebody who in their 40s.
They don't even know the order.
They word the fresh. Word the fresh. They been dead 30 years. You don't know fresh. How you 17? How the fuck? It's a handed down beef that these kids are inheriting territorially. So because I just moved here, I don't even know you dudes. I got beef with the trade because my mother just happened to get an apartment in this area. It's how do we stop that? How do we?
There's no one answer to this. You know what I'm saying? This is something that is bigger than all of us in here, even if we put our minds together, okay? But what it is we can do, in speaking of a culture shift, is I think what we're doing now, right? For the first time in history, these kids are going to be able to go onto your page. These kids are going to be able to go on Bugatti's page. These kids are going to be able to go on everybody's Slay page here and see, damn, look at this conflict resolution. We didn't agree on a few things here today, but we didn't go to the beef. Kids, like you were saying, reenact what they're very impressionable. They reenact what they see. You can only become what you see. And I think what we're doing today here is starting that. And I think in the future, that's the only way that it's gonna change, and it could change, is if we expose them to different things like this, conflict resolution. Okay, cats is beefing, you don't gotta pull out your gun. You don't gotta fucking even fight. You know what I'm saying? You can talk it out. You can figure it out, just get your feelings hurt and move on and just move forward. So I think that's what we should focus on, each individually, you know what I mean?
Slay, you got any thoughts?
Nah, it was just like, it just gets me so, like, I think about that all the time. Like, for example, I'm from Hamden. So, and I just think about just the decades of beef or the decades of saying stuff and don't even really know what it is. Like, for example, I'm from Hamden. I went to high school in the Hill. That was my first time going to New Haven Public Schools. So everybody from the Hill saying, word of lover, word of lover, word of lover, right? This is in 2006. Because I believe, did he pass away around that time? Because I know you from the Hill. But like, I hear kids are saying it now. And I'm like, fam, it's no way that you knew this man.
They've been lying on Nate
yo, it's
forever.
no way that you knew this man, because this was like 14, 15 years ago. It's no way if you're 13 saying this. You know what I'm saying? And it's just silly. And then they so territorial, but they don't own nothing. Their mother never owned nothing on that block. Their grandmother, their grandfather never owned anything, but we so territorial about what's going on.
It's because they don't own anything. And this is their main thing, is that they don't own anything.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's get tight, 'cause we closing
Well, why
out.
don't we just grab the gang leaders and sit them down?
Yeah,
there?
There are no gang leaders.
We did that.
Hold on.
We did that.
So hold on. So let me say something. So hold on.
We gotta get
Hold on.
Put him in the patty.
Honestly. Hold on. Hold on.
Put all the gang
Hold on.
in the patty.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you
Catch a Rico
some
charge.
research.
You organize them all to come here.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you
Go
a
ahead,
case study where it worked. Stockton, California. Look it up.
Yeah, but we in New Haven,
Hold on.
bro.
Hold on.
I
Let me
respect
finish.
Cali,
Let me
but-
finish.
That's the reason why I have
Let me
to stop
finish.
you. The reason why I have to stop you. The reason why I have to stop you is the structure. It's no.
It's structured gang.
Hold on. Can I finish?
Not only that,
Hold on.
those are OGs. We don't have OGs gang banging. These dudes is 18.
Hold on.
Let me rebuttal.
Wait, let me finish the
Let
whole
him finish his statement, and then you.
Let me finish the statement. So you talked about wanting to save the next generation and being engaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an opportunity for you to go to Mayor Ellicott and say, listen, look at Stockton, California. Michael Tubbs, the mayor, 27-year-old mayor, black guy, said, you know what? We're going to take $500,000 and put it to the side. We're going to call the gang leaders together, and we are going to sit down and have a conversation, and we're going to stop this violence. And we're going to give them this pot of money every year to keep violence down in the community. Why not? It's a case.
Ain't no Haven, bro.
You know.
It worked.
These youngest don't even care about the older people.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say it right now.
I'm not from New Haven.
I'm about to break it down to you right now.
I'm not from New Haven.
Gotti, go ahead.
Hold on.
Gotti.
I'm about to break it down to you right now.
I'm
I'm about to break it down to you right now. These youngest don't even care about the old heads on their block. You wanna know how they listen to this? They like, oh, man, this nigga been here for 30 years. This nigga, he doing the same thing I'm doing. He don't listen to him.
He's right.
Before he listen to anybody.
That's the
There's no
difference.
OGs.
In Cali, those were OGs. Over here, we don't have no OGs. They're 18. They're 17.
Right.
They not trying to.
I can't talk to a 17-year-old.
I knew you was gonna say that, Slay.
everything.
I knew you was gonna say that.
So who reaches out to the 17-year-old to
Nobody.
stop it?
It's too late. We gotta reach out to the 12, the 13-year-olds that's following in their footsteps.
And on top of it,
All right, hold up.
Go. Get to it.
Hold on.
Get him. Get
This
to
is
it.
literally,
Hold up, Slay.
and honestly,
Ty.
this is literally my wheelhouse. Like, this is literally my expertise. No. What I'm about. This is literally my expertise, and if you notice, all I'm doing is listening because we can't figure it out. I'm still gonna go back to, the face of a movement, and like when I hear Bugatti, right? When I hear him, because I listen to his music. I consume his music because he's from here. right? And when I hear him, when I see him, when I listen to him talk, right? This is my first time listening to him talk, right? When we say who should be talking to them,
It's Bugatti.
yeah, people call me all the time, like, and I get tired of it. People call me all the time and like, Ty, you need to come talk to these kids, and they think I'm trying to be funny when I say no. I don't. Like, there is somebody better than me that can reach them in a way. It's the passion of the torch, right? Kerm hit a spot. Kerm called me one day. Kerm was a mentor of mine growing up, right? Kerm called me one day. It's like, yo, it's your show, right? And I'm like, oh. He like, you got the captive audience. And he told me, you got about a 10-year run. That run ran out about 5 years ago, right? The next one up, because I go by who's willing, not who looks good on paper and all that. I don't give a damn about all that. I don't care if the boy never wore a suit. That man right there, because of the heart and what everything he said comes back to, I want to help these kids. That's who need to be talking to him. And here's the thing, you ain't gonna get them all.
No,
but God damn it, if you reach two, you might save 20 lives.
That's right.
All right, so we about to end, but everyone, I want to give everyone a chance to close with something that they want to say as far as gems or just to, based off something we was talking about, and this is not open for rebuttal.
I gained a lot of knowledge from you, and I gained a lot of knowledge from you, and definitely thank you. Just gave me something that I guess is my calling, I guess, So I just appreciate this conversation and be in the room with these great black men, we like-minded men. We strong black men, and it's gonna feed off on the camera, and these kids gonna be able to take this knowledge and they're gonna see the unity. This just begins. It starts with us, the unity. So I appreciate everybody in this room, for real. Thank you for having me a part of this.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is going to be ownership. You gotta own something in this life. And the reason why is because you want to be able to pass that down and create that generational wealth. The most important thing to remember is, and especially when it comes down to ownership, is kind of just get out there and do it. There really is no fear in this, because it's only one thing that you're going to end up doing is this: you're going to end up blocking yourself and blocking your blessings for your generations to come. So just continue to go ahead and move forward. You can get at me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Ayo Glenn on Facebook and at your boy now on Instagram. So yeah, hit me up. Like I said, you're gonna go through a lot of different funny things, but I drop a lot of jewels in that. The main reason why I do all the funny stuff is because I want you guys to understand that I'm silly, I'm a clown, but I'm intelligent, and that this ain't hard to do. It's simple. It ain't gonna be easy, but it's simple. And so that's the major thing. So again, get at me, like I said, on Facebook, Instagram, and hit me up. You can ask me any questions. I'm always available.
I just want to close and say that I want every young man out there that's looking at this footage that we have right here, and just look and see me as yourself, because I was that guy. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. I migrated here, and I changed my life so I could stop getting in trouble from Brooklyn. So I came here to do better. I came here, 12th grade education just like everybody else. I didn't know what my next move was going to be, but I stepped out on faith and I invested in myself, and I just want every kid to know that they can invest in themselves. They can change their life. I got a felony. I gave the state 2 years of my life. It's nothing different from me. Ain't nothing different from these kids out here. I was one of you guys. So I just want to say that just do something that you love to do, and just have consistency and stick-to-itiveness, and you will succeed in life or whatever it is. If you sell oranges on the street at the light consistently enough, somebody's going to pull up at that light years later and go, I got an orange grove in damn Florida. I want you to come run it, brother. I see your consistency. Somebody's going to give you an opportunity. So just be consistent, have stick-to-itiveness, and like he said, man, let's be accountable and start owning stuff and teach our kids, instead of owning 37,000 pair of sneakers that's worth absolutely nothing, we can take 8 to 10 grand and invest in ourselves and have generational wealth and financial freedom, man.
So I first want to thank the Bree, because I think this is the second panel we did. One was at the Connecticut's Arts Day with Adriana, and this is the second one. And you remain steadfast and committed to outreach to young people, and I want to just say thank you for that. And thank all these gentlemen on this panel for lending your voice, lending your time, and telling your story to reach the next generation of African American leaders. Because all of our kids, whether they are hanging on the corner, they're in a boardroom, they're a CEO, they're a drug dealer, they're unemployed, you are a leader, and you will reach out to somebody. Stay committed, stay safe. Remember to vote November 3rd. August 11th is also a Democratic primary. Do your census, because if you want to change your community, that's one step in the process of changing your community. So again, thank everybody. Go vote.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that, thank you guys. Thank you to Bree for putting this together. Thank you for each of the fellas that I got to meet today and share your stories and kind of, be vulnerable and let everybody know where you're at in your lives and give us all gems to move forward. One thing that I'm taking out today that I wish that everybody watching this would is discipline and sacrifice. We talk about ownership. We talk about owning your own business. We talk about even putting something like this together. The formula is easy, man. If you could just have discipline and you can sacrifice just a little bit for a short period of time, it could take you a long way to getting your first property, opening your first business, meeting other like-minded individuals to build and truly grow. So thank you again. You can follow me on Instagram at Let's All Win JR. We also have a podcast that we do here in Kenny's studio here, the Famously Average Podcast. Like, subscribe, and www.letsallwinct.com. Get instant access to the MLS. Thank you guys for having me.
Crazy plug.
I know. I miss my Instagram and everything. I got a website. Sure, I got to practice that.
It's always great to come back to Kenny's studio. We did a lot of content here and events here. As a part of the breed, it's always good to be in collaboration with my brothers, Aaron and Snacks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge everybody on this panel so that when this drops, whenever we get the email or whatever to the link to this, and number one, to post it on your social media page. Obviously, everyone's going to do that. But I want you to find 2 youths between 13 and 18 and just ask them, yo, just look out for me, just look out for Big Bro, look out for Unc or whatever, just post this on your page right quick, because we could post it all day, every day, but we're only reaching the 25 to about 45 demographic. So we done dropped a lot of gems for 13 to 18, but none of them kids really follow us like that. Right. I'm not gonna front. So it's just if you know a high schooler or whatever, just be listen, it don't got, and you know how the kids be funny about what's on the timeline and what's on the main page. So you could tell them, you don't got to put it on your main page, but just put it on your timeline, because some kid is going to click it and watch it because they know one of these faces, or even if they don't know one of these faces, some kid is going to be sitting at the crib, you know what, I got time, let me watch this, and then they're going to be wow, I learned a lot from this. But find 2 kids and just say, just post this on your page right quick. Good looks. So.
Just want to thank the breed for having me and being able to be a part of this conversation with all you gentlemen. August 8th, I want to challenge everybody. The reason why I asked about voting, August 8th, so individuals from all of the Black Greek letter fraternities, so Slaying our members of organizations, and got an alpha here, so we got Phi Beta Sigma, Mega Psi Phi, and Alpha Phi Alpha here, and we're all going to be working together on August 8th at 200 Orange Street, a Black Men Vote initiative. And it would be dope if you guys bring some people out there, because we don't want the usual suspects out there. We want young cats out there. I think that's a Friday or Saturday. We want young cats out there. I'll send the flyer to you guys. But we want young cats out there so that we can educate them around voting. We want ex-felons out there because they can vote and they keep being told that they can't. So we'll help with that process and all that, because another way to take over our communities is through the political power that we have as individuals. And then JR talked about discipline. I want to add 2 other words with that: focus and effort, right? So with focus, discipline, and effort, you young people can do a lot of things, and we're all kind of a result of some sort of focus, discipline, and effort. right? You got to put in the work. Things don't just happen. People make things happen. So never forget that. Never give up on yourself, and don't allow somebody else's fear to stop you from doing what you think you could do in life.
You got it.
We'd like to thank everybody that came to be a part of this. This is big. I learned a lot today.
Me too.
And two things I want to say is, honesty should never be taken as disrespect. And the youth have to understand that. A person's honesty should never be taken as them being disrespectful to you. A person's honesty could save your life. Your education is key. And I would like to ask everyone on this panel to, dedicate yourself to educating these young dudes. Give them gems that can just, we have to keep educating. That is something we have to do. We're not going to get paid for it. We're not going to reap no benefits from it. I promise you, you're not getting nothing from it. But we have to do it. If we don't do it, 10 years from now, it's going to be another group of ambitious young men sitting at the same spot trying to do it all over again. Now, if we're okay with that, I know we're not. So let's just keep that going. And we'd like to say thank you to Breed Academy, the Breed ENT. We're dedicated to educating young artists and the youth in the community and protecting them. And let's just keep it going. Thanks a lot.
Screaming free the guy till they free. I'm putting on for my block, man, they need me. Eastside T Street, we ain't cool if you can't reach me. Trust me.